Hello and welcome to another video. My name is Frenzel Gillian and I'm a business and leadership coach. Today I'd like to talk to you about strategic planning. The purpose of this video is to talk about elements of strategic planning, and those elements being vision, mission, goals and objectives. I've titled this video Clarity of Purpose for the SME, and it's my hope that after this video you'll be a little bit clearer in terms of your own strategic planning as an SME. Now, there are many different definitions of small and medium-sized businesses, SMEs, and I'm not going to go into a lot of detail about this, but just a broad picture. This is an organization with employees, could be just a few employees, to a company that has a few hundred employees. So it's quite a broad sector of businesses that I am addressing. And my message is to business owners, to entrepreneurs, to CEOs in these businesses, and also then to leaders across the seniority chain, whether it's executives, managers, technical professionals that are part and parcel of making this business work. Now, in my experience, it's often the case that plans are made, strategic plans are made or set every few years and then left on the shelf, or it could be part of the marketing collateral and the go-to-market information that is given out there in the market and communicated, and also to funders, to companies that now will be looking to provide us with funding. That could also be part and parcel of the communication around strategic planning. And you may say to me that good and well, as an entrepreneur, CEO, executive, you are very busy. There's so much of demands on your time, and you don't really have time to spend too much introspection and spend time on vision and mission statement. And I want to start by making the point that it's really very important to be clear on purpose, to have clarity of purpose. And I'm going to back that up by referencing a study that was done in the US in terms of the success of early stage businesses, new businesses. And in terms of this particular study, only about 40%, 39% of companies made it past 6 years. About 66% of new businesses failed to survive past 2 years, and only about 49% made it past 4 years. And many businesses, many companies in different markets may put forward different reasons for small business failure, and in many cases there are different stats. There are stats that are perhaps higher than this failure rate. And people may put forward reasons like lack of financing as some reasons for business failure. According to this study, however, the number one reason for these business failures had to do with limited vision. One could also say lack of proper planning, of clarity of purpose. So they were not clear on why they existed in the first place. And I want to underscore the point about why they existed in the first place, and also what the key strategic objectives of the business were. What are the key strategic objectives, or things that will move the dial, so to speak, for these businesses? Now, there's a man named James Robertson that put it this way. He said, "On the clarity of your ideas depends the scope of your success in any endeavor." And I like the fact that he spoke about any endeavor. So it's not only businesses, it could be any organization. And also on a personal level, it really depends on the clarity of our ideas, the scope of our success. So it is my wish and hope that this video would help you, give you a few pointers to be part and parcel of those companies that in fact then survived past the 5-year point and became larger companies, saleable assets that could be part of your wealth creation engine as an entrepreneur, founder, and CEO of a particular small business. Now, I want to talk to you in 3 buckets. I know you have limited time, so I want to talk to you in 3 buckets about the point about clarity of purpose and becoming a little bit clearer in terms of planning as it relates to strategy. So the first point is to define, have a common understanding of what I mean by vision, mission, goals, and objectives. And yeah, I don't want to get into an MBA dissertation. I just really want to put forward some ideas that makes it clear as to what exactly I have in mind when I talk about these concepts, and to make sure that we have a common understanding as I go forward in this video. The next bucket talks about what are the benefits of spending time in this area? What can we gain by being clearer in terms of our planning as it relates to strategy for the business? And then the last bucket is to leave you with 5 broad questions, 5 powerful questions, hopefully, that could stimulate thought and ideas as to how you could become clearer in terms of your own understanding, your own planning in your business. As I said, I'm not going to go through an academic study or academic dissertation on vision and mission, but just to say the vision statement is the broad idea of what the company is aiming to achieve. It's the picture, a broad sense of direction as to where the business is going. One would also call it a high-level statement of intent. The mission statement is a little bit more detailed, a little bit more granular, if I can put it that way. And then it talks about how this particular vision would now be achieved. What will make it a reality? One could think about the vision statement as the roadmap, whereas the mission statement might now be the picture, the broad picture. The vision statement is really the how, the roadmap, the broad plan. Now, I want to bring that home by looking at the vision and mission statement of Apple. We're all familiar with Apple, and Apple is a leader in many products like in the technology space, where they produced the Apple Mac, they produced the iPhone, and then also the iPad. So if one looks at the Apple mission statement, you'd find the following. It reads as follows: to make the best products on earth and to leave the world better than we found it. So very aspirational, very broad. The best products, it doesn't necessarily talk about technology. It's very broad on earth, not necessarily limited to a market like the US, for example, and also the social impact that it wants to achieve by leaving the world a better place than what they found it. The mission statement provides a little bit more detail as to how now to achieve this particular vision of the company. It talks about the following. I'm going to read it: to bring the best user experience to customers through innovative hardware, software, and devices. So here we're getting closer to this roadmap. It talks about user experience, the best user experience. It talks about customers, and it talks about how to achieve this: innovative hardware, software, and services. And a man named Michael Hyatt said the following. He said, when you know your why, you will know your way. So one can think of the why in the context of the vision. In other words, the vision is the why, and then the way is the roadmap, which is the mission. When you know your why, you'll know your way. Going on, then I'd like to talk about the concept of goals and objectives, or the aspect of goals and objectives. Goals are also fairly broad. It might be something like, we want to be financially sustainable as a business, or we want to be a leader in a particular product area or product market. So it's broad. It doesn't necessarily have metrics tied to it. Whereas the objectives is much more measurable. So let's take the aspect of revenue. It would be to say we want to grow our revenue by a particular percentage, or we want to have penetration in a particular market. We want to build a particular customer base in terms of a size and diversity, for example, of customers' revenue mix. It could also talk about improving operating margins by a particular percent, or even improving margins of a particular product by a particular metric. So goals and objectives are more regularly updated. So this would be part and parcel of the annual planning process. So whether it's management meetings or perhaps board meetings in large organizations, this would be where we look at the vision and mission, and we then refresh our business plan for the particular year. We set goals for the particular year. We determine key performance areas, whether it's in HR in terms of recruitment, whether it's in logistics in terms of getting our product to market, whether it's in procurement in terms of being able to service our customers, production area, what the finance area in terms of, for example, working capital management, whatever it might be. We determine those areas and then determine the key performance indicators. So I want to then talk about what are the benefits of having a clear vision and mission statement. Remember, I said that the vision and mission statement informs the goals and objectives. And so what is the benefit of having a clear vision and mission statement? I would put forward the first benefit is that it gives the company, it shapes its identity, or it has the potential to shape its identity, what it stands for, what its brand represents. I heard a statement the other day by one commentator saying that if we cannot define our brand in 2 or 3 words, then we're in trouble. So in the case of Apple, we think about innovation, we think about the user experience, we think about quality, for example, would be aspects that the identity of the business stands for, and that's taken directly from its mission statement. Also, it provides a clear sense of direction, a clear sense of purpose. So if you look at the example of Apple, they're not in the automotive industry, for example. They are about producing products for the user experience in the technology area, technology and media, one could say. So it provides clarity of focus, what we are going to be doing and what we're not going to be doing. It also has the potential for providing alignment. So here we're talking about the culture aspect, for people to pull in the same direction because we know what the vision and the mission of the company is. So it provides an opportunity for alignment within the company. And this is where we can now make the vision and the mission a daily reality for our team, for the management team, for employees. On the same breath, it also provides the foundation for setting clear values. And really the values is also how the vision and the mission is now lived out. Whatever those values might be, it could be integrity, it could be mutual respect, it could be innovation, as was the case with, or is the case with Apple. So again, the vision and mission becomes a reality that informs the business on a day-to-day basis. Also, the vision and mission would determine what skills we would require. If we look at Apple, for example, they want the best user experience. They want to be in hardware, software, and services, and they may not have all the internal skills. It may be better for the business to partner with other companies in their ecosystem, and that might be the same for you as an SME, that you may need to identify what partnerships you need. Also, it may then inform what skills and competences you need, what training programs you would need to invest in to build your team now and also into the future. It also serves as a framework for periodic planning. I mentioned earlier on that at your annual management planning session, you may have a recap on the vision and the mission, but typically those are not changed every couple of years. But here you will be talking about using your broad goals and objectives to set the plan for the year. And that plan would then inform what the key performance indicators would be. What would it mean for the marketing sales team to deliver or to have succeeded? What would it mean for the finance team and, for example, managing working capital, the financial reporting and so forth? And so we can set performance indicators for particular areas. Now, the final bucket that I would then want us to look at would be to develop or leave you with 5 questions that could help you to have better clarity of purpose, that could help shape your vision and mission, or even when you do have already a vision and mission statement, maybe to refresh and have another look at it. The first question is, what inspired you to start the business? What is your motivation, and how is it linked to your personal values and your personal beliefs, I would also say? What are your wealth creation goals from this particular business? And what is the impact that you would like to leave on society? We saw the missions, the vision statement of Apple, which was really broad, and it talked about leaving the world a better place. Now, your ambitions may not be as broad as Apple. It might be to make an impact in education, schools, for example, to train and develop your people, to contribute in another area in society, whatever that might be. And then second point is, who is your target market for your products and services? Where are they located? What are their needs? What types of products do they require? And how would you then solve those challenges that they might be facing, the pains and gains, as it's also called. The third point is, what would make you different? How would you differentiate yourself? In every market, there's already competitors, or they're likely for competitors to enter into whatever market, whatever niche you've identified. And how would you differentiate yourself from your competitors? What skills are you going to, what qualities, how is your products going to be different? You may say, I'm going to compete on price, but one can have a discussion as to how effective that might be. So what are the things that is going to set you apart? What is your value proposition? What will make you different? The fourth point is, what will future success look like? I would say to you and to your business. What are the size and scope that you intend for this business to have? Which markets? What is the revenue targets? Also importantly, are you looking to build a business that will be a lifestyle company around yourself? Or are you looking to build a business that could become medium-sized, larger, and eventually a saleable asset that could be sold to private equity investors, for example, or to another entrepreneur that are looking to acquire your business, or might be in a related industry? So what is the picture, the mental picture that you have for this business? And then finally, I come again back to skills and competencies. So what skills, experience, and partnerships would you need to succeed in this business? What skills, competencies, and partnerships would you need to meet your aspirations? Also, I'd like to make the point that as the business grows from being an early stage business or smaller business to a medium sized and larger business, the skills and behaviors and competencies of you as the entrepreneur or the leader behind the business would need to adapt and change to remain ahead of the curve, to remain innovative, to be able to continue to be successful. So that's another aspect that you would need to consider, is the change and the behaviors and attitudes that you would need as you go on this journey of success. The skills, experiences, and competencies that you would need. As I mentioned, the title of this video is Clarity of Purpose for the SME, and it really talks about the why you are in business. And we spoke about the vision and the mission statement, which then gives rise to the goals and objectives. And Stephen Covey is famous for his book, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. And in that book, he talks about beginning with the end in mind. And I would like to leave you with that thought, to begin with the end in mind. And I'm going to leave you with his quote, one of his quotes from his book. It reads as follows: "To begin with the end in mind means to start with a clear understanding of your destination. It means to know where you are going, so that you better understand where you are now, and so that the next steps you take is always in the right direction." So the vision and mission will help you to always take steps in the right direction. Also, it will help you to assess where you are now and where you need to go, because you have this clear picture in your mind of what the future could behold. I hope you found benefit in this video. If you have, please share the video, like the video, and also consider subscribing to our channel. You can also check out the links to our website and to other social media platforms on which we are active. Till the next video, thanks for your time.